Good morning, everyone. Today is Monday again, February 2nd. And today we're going to finish off the video we started last week. I believe it was Friday. I decided, you know what? It's about that time to look at my 401k and look at the funds that are in there to see if I need to do any reallocation to see if these are performing as expected. Um, I always say you should at least look at it once a year, and I never do myself. It usually comes up to like every 2 years. Maybe this is the third year. I don't even know. But I mean, the funds don't really change too frequently. But if you get like an alert that your 401k has announced, maybe they're adding a new fund, removing a new fund, maybe that's time, a reminder at least to go look at it, right? And why? Well, why the hell not? It's your nest egg, right? It's your everything. It's what you plan on retiring on. So why show so much love to your individual taxable brokerage or your IRA and not, the largest holding that you have, which typically is the 401k, right? Although, yeah, it's not fun. It's not as fun as investing in your taxable brokerage because you don't have the flexibility to play around and, do this, do that. But it is one of the, the most important tools that you have here. Even though you can't touch it till you're an old fart, you want to make sure it's working as intended, earning as intended. You're capitalizing on all of the available funds, as intended to hopefully increase your ending capital when you are that old fart and you're gray or bald or fat, right? So anyway, before we even get into that though, Bitcoin update. Most of you saw over the weekend. It's a little rough out there. It dropped, drastically. If I go to the 1 week, we could see so this was what on the 20 here. I think this was the drop from the weekend. But yeah, pretty brutal. How far down? What's the lowest it went here? Let's see, 74,000 was, I guess, the low. That's pretty rough, to be honest. I saw an alert that said this is the first time Bitcoin went under the MSTR's average cost basis in many, many years. So again, I don't know what that means for MSTR, but it's not great. All right, let's get to it. Before I even get into finalizing, my choices, my review of the 401k, I wanted to bring up like the pension versus the 401k so we could talk about it. All right. And I know this is not my typical type of video, but it's something that, deserves a discussion. So if any of you have a pension, any of you have a 401k, and any of you don't have either, what are you doing? Like, what is your plan when you retire? I'm curious to know. I'll pull up the comments as I see them, but we'll see. All right. So the pension was something that was very popular many years ago, and it was available to a lot of companies, especially in the private, sector. But since then, it's companies can't afford it anymore. They can't be guaranteeing payments for as long as people live because people are, they're living longer, or they're just losing money on it. So, the private sector, they said, okay, we're pretty much cutting ties. I mean, there are some companies that still offer it, but outside of that, you can only pretty much get a pension on the public sector. And the public sector, again, I don't know if it's the same version of it, but think about it. Like, why are they not getting rid of it? I mean, supposedly, the tax, everyone pays way too much in taxes and this and that. But here we are, we're saying it, companies can't afford it in the public sector. So I'm pretty sure they can't afford it in the private sector. but it looks like they do still have it for certain jobs. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys know otherwise, but I believe it's still authored. A version of it for anyone who works in the public sector. All right. So what else we got here? Let's go from the beginning. Funding. Pensions are funded primarily by the employer. So basically, you don't even have to worry about it, right? They just put money in for you as long as you're working there, and it builds up and builds up and builds up, and then hopefully one day you will retire, and then they'll say, okay, this is what it calculates to be. This is what your monthly payment will be, and this is what you'll get either until you die or to your spouse, that I don't know, until you both die or something like that. But it's just something. Think of it like it's almost like Social Security in a way. The 401k funded by the employee contributions with possible employer matches. So what's the difference here? The difference is the pension is funded by the employer and the 401k is funded by the employee. But yeah, obviously a lot of companies are smart. I'll say smart enough to offer their employees a company match. For the companies that don't offer that, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I mean, help a brother out. Do you care about your freaking employees? Anyway, let's move on. Risk. Employer bears the risk. No, I'm sorry. Employer bears the investment risk. So, and they say this because when they offer their pension, they're saying, based on X amount of years, based on your salary, based on this, based on that, we're committing to giving you a monthly compensation, arrangement. So yes, they have to be wise with their investments. As far as the 401k, the employee does, right? You get a job, you sign up with a company, you sign up for the 401k, and great, that's it. You're on your own, buddy, right? And you're just, maybe a young Joe Schmo or just someone who doesn't know about investing. You're like, okay, what the hell is this? So yeah, that was a big change. And I don't think people ever, really accepted that change or understand that change, because go ask, if you work at a company that offers a 401k, do this today. Go up to anyone and ask them, when's the last time you looked at your 401k, or what's your favorite fund in the 401k, right? Do you have one? Obviously, they're not going to know that one probably offhand, but it'll just, the answer is probably going to be, I haven't looked at it in years, right? And it's sad. All right, portability. I don't know what the hell the point of this is, but I assume when you say portable, they're saying, all right, the 401k can be moved to like an IRA, I guess, but it says highly portable. Pension's not very portable. All right, payment structure provides guaranteed monthly payment for life. We talked about that. So the pension guarantees you a monthly payment. And then the 401k says it provides a lump sum or withdrawals during retirement. So, which again, that's up to the person. They could do whatever the hell they want with their money when they're of age, of course. Investment control. Employer manages investments. Employee manages investments. Now, you can look at the pension in two different ways, right? So the pension, you could say that obviously the employer is giving you money, right? The employer, if they're going to give you money from day one and they're going to pay you out eventually, whatever, can you do better with that money on your own? Like, would you prefer to take whatever money they're putting in for you and do what you want to do with that? Or do you like this option? Do you like that in the end you get some type of guarantee? I don't know. What is everyone's thoughts on that? All right. And then, of course, availability. The pension is less common. And then the 401k is pretty much, the options that you have. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm not going to go through a bunch of this. I do have 10 fun facts about the 401k. Here's Alan. I have a pension and I had a deferred compensation 401k without the match. In New Jersey, anyway, public workers kick into their pension 7. Okay, so I guess, yeah, at this point, some states they will require the employee to put something in. All right, so which I mean, okay, but at least they still have the option. I assume they don't have to. Maybe they have to. I don't know. Do they have to, Alan? All right, let's see. I remember recently 2025 Rod was anti 401k. Don't let this video confuse you. I am anti 401k. I think the whole 401k thing is a scam, to be honest. I think the 401k was set up to create people to work until a certain age. All right. I'm just making this video because most people are probably in this situation where you're working as a company, you're getting a match. You might as well get the match, take the match, invest, work with what you got, which is what I'm doing. I'm working with what I have, and I'm reallocating to the best of my ability, right? Because again, everyone has to work or do something to provide. And if where you work provides a 401k that offers a company match, then hey, it makes sense. Why not at least do the company match? But Brian, yeah, don't let this video fool you. I am not a fan of 401ks. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. All right, let's see. Hey, Rod, you killed Kenny, aka Misty. It wasn't me, man. Bitcoin did it. Bitcoin did it. Rod was anti anything other than income funds. Not really. But believe what you want. All right, let's see. Good morning. Morning. Good morning. All right, let's keep this train moving here. All right, so that's the pension. Again, just fun stuff. And then 10 facts about your 401k. Let's see what we got here. I didn't really read through these too much. 401k is tied to your job. Well, yeah, duh. So things to think about, like, I'm not even going to read this, but like, if I wanted to say move my 401k into an IRA, I can't, right? I can't do it because I'm still working there. So, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you can." No, I can't. I asked both sides, and I can't do it. Maybe some can, but I cannot. So I can't move it to an IRA where I have the flexibility to invest how I choose. Also, I can't take the money out. I can't, even if I wanted to take the 10% penalty, I can't take the money out unless it's some type of qualified emergency. So that doesn't really go. I mean, number one, tied to your job, it's basically locked down if you're still working there. So, again, another ridiculous thing. I don't know how else to say it. It's your money, but they said, all right, you can't take it out. We charge a penalty, 10% penalty. The government at least does, right? Or someone gets this freaking 10%, but you can't even do that. You can't take the penalty. Like, even though I'm investing mostly Roth, right? I have mostly Roth money. Like, normally, if you invest money in a Roth IRA, you could take that money you put in tax-free. If you put money into a Roth 401k and you're still with the employer, you cannot take out that money tax-free. Okay? So again, there's good and there's bad, mostly bad. All right, let's keep going. There are two main types of 401k, traditional and Roth. So when 401k started, it was always traditional, which is pre-tax, basically tax deferred. So you choose, basically, I'm going to not claim whatever I'm putting into the 401k, and I'm not going to have to pay taxes on that year, right? But I'll have to pay taxes on that money and any gains from that money when I decide to retire, which, again, the 401k age is around 59 and a half or whatever the hell it is. For now, again, they can increase it. They certainly won't decrease it. We know that. Put the freaking heater on. Cold. It's so damn cold lately. And the Roth, obviously, kind of the reverse. You pay taxes now, and the beauty of that is whatever you earn on that money is tax free. Whenever you take out that money, assuming you take it out at the qualified age, it's tax free. So, and so being that most people sign up at such a young age and it builds up year over year over year, the Roth is a huge benefit, right? Huge. All right, let's keep going. Contribution limit for 20. This is 25 contribution limit, but again, this is another thing like, so wait, I'm only allowed to invest a certain amount of money into it. I guess I never really looked into why they do this, why they control the limits, but you know what? I don't have the energy to care. All right, here's again, like Roth IRAs, they have income limits. The 401ks, they do not. They do not have income limits. So even if you make bank bro at your company, you could still do the 401k. Number 5, you could take loans against your 401k, which, I can vouch for this. It's true. I've taken many loans out in my day. And how they work is typically, I'm not saying it's for all of them are the same, but you would have a qualified amount. So you go in to, there's a general purpose loan, and then there's another option for like home emergency loan. But like the basic one is called like general purpose. And they'll tell you, all right, this is the amount that you have qualified to take out for a loan. And then they'll say, okay, here's 20,000, right? And then if you choose that, then you choose the term. So you'll say, all right, take it out of my paycheck for this long, for this many pay periods, and you'll pay interest on that. But as they say, quote unquote, that interest goes back to you. But the downside is the money that you're borrowing, you're not going to be earning really, the appreciation on the money that you would have had it been invested in the stock market, right? So, but again, people sometimes they need their money, and this is most of the case. This is the only time they're able to take it out. I mean, I've almost during my working career, I've almost had a loan during the entire time, right? There was a couple times I had 2 loans going, like when I bought my first home, because you can't afford crap. So I did the home loan, first home buyer loan or something. So I had 2 loans coming out of my work paycheck. Right now is the longest I probably had without having a loan out with my 401k. I'm not saying they're good or bad, but the one thing I never liked is it seemed a little uncertain. Like if you leave the employer, what happens to that loan? Do you have to pay it back right away? Do you just take the penalty on it? How does that work? Because if you have to pay that back right away, that's ridiculous. Kiss my ass. You know what I mean? How about no? If you have to take the penalty, fine, I'll deal with, that makes more sense. All right, let me catch up on some comments and I'll keep going down this list. Again, this is just different content that I wanted to do anyway. Here's from Never Broke. Let me take a sip of coffee real quick, though. I still have no voice, I guess. Rod, the best thing I did was quit my job 10 years ago. It allowed me to move my sucky company 401 into Fidelity 401. You mean Fidelity IRA, right? I assume. Very good investment options. Brother says quitting is always an option. Yes, it is. Alan Wynn says, I believe I ended up putting 100K during my tenure. My pot of money was around 400. Probably would have done a bit better with a 401k, but like having multiple income streams. And I could leave it to my wife, which I'm doing. Borrowing against your 401k is yes, correct. People borrow against their pension and invest that money. Nikki did a hardship loan 16 years ago for a down on my house. Best investment I made. I still do the match. Not really a loan. Yeah. So it's well, there's a couple things. There's hardship withdrawal, which obviously you have to provide. You can withdraw the money, but you have to provide all this proof of hardship. I think there's a loan there's again general purpose, and then there's a loan needed for house repair, medical bills, things like that. But all right, whatever. Let's keep going. You can't. Here you go. This is number 6. This is to me like the worst thing. You can't make withdrawals until you turn 59 and a half. So yeah, I'm not saying, I rip on the 401k all the time, but this is the main reason, to be honest. So you basically say you're 22 years old, you get your first job, you invest money into a retirement account, but regardless of what happens, you can't use the money until you're 59 and a half. Okay, that's what, 37 years? What? I can't have my own money till I'm 59. What? And then of course there's this exception, which is, this is my plan now again, because unless for some reason my YouTube career blows up, or we get a sponsor that wants to pay my salary. It says here, if your 401k is with your employer you're retiring from, you can withdraw starting at age 55. Okay, so again, this, if you think about, I know someone just said, I think it was Alan, greatest thing I did was quit my job. Maybe you got another job, but the job that you left, if it had most of your 401k money, you can't do the rule of 55 anymore, because you have to leave that company at 55. If you leave at 50 and you go to another job, you now only have 5 years of buildup at the current job that you could take out at 55, if that makes sense. You have to, here's another, you have to start taking money out when you turn 72. So yeah, I mean, this is required minimum distribution thing. It's for Roth and traditional. It's different rules, I guess, for either. But what does this mean? They want their money, right? Especially on the tax deferred, on the traditional, they want their money. If you're holding back, there's a minimum you have to take, because they want their tax money. It's all about them. You have to pay fees. Yeah, I mean, hopefully most of the fees are from the company has to pay it. If the worst that you pay is those expense fees on the index funds, then whoopee-doo. Right, we're all used to paying 0.99% now on our high yield ETF. So 0.0 whatever fraction of a percent is nothing, in the scheme of things. You can often choose your investments. I don't know who put number 9, but they should be smacked in the head. Why would you even, what do you mean? No. Often? You can often choose your investments? No. And then here, most 401k plans present you with a limited, now you say limited set of investments. All right. A lot of the time, things are like the target date fund. Yeah. Imagine, I have a question. Are there companies that only offer the target date funds? I assume that they can't do that. So let's hope that's not the case. You can't keep putting money in if you leave your job. I mean, that was a waste of a bullet there, but okay, whatever. All right. So yeah, that was the 10 fun facts of the 401k. And then I did Wikipedia it. I just wanted to see when it came out. Let's see. The first implementation of a 401k plan was in 1978, 3 weeks after Section 401k was enacted, before the Revenue Act of 1978 went into effect. Blah, blah, blah. I know, and this name keeps coming up. Ted Benna was the first to establish the 401k plan, creating it at his own employer, the Johnson Companies, today business as Johnson, Kendall, and Johnson. Okay. And then he talks about traditional, talks about Roth, withdrawal of funds. They mentioned Rule 55. I bet you they don't. I don't even see it. Oh, wait, here it is. Separation from service in. All right, good for them. And then, of course, yeah, a lot of people bring this up to me. Well, you could do the 72T. Well, I did look at it, and then the payments I qualify for would not be a lot. So no, it wouldn't work. Crap is expensive nowadays. So, and then here's about the RMDs. You don't really have to worry about that until you're an old fart. Let's see. All right, these are, I think, the limits that you're allowed to contribute over the years. Obviously, in 1989, it was 7,627. And then there's a employee and employer limit combined. But right now, as of 26, the employee limit is 24.5. The employer limit is 72. Do I put in? No, I don't. I don't max. I put in whatever the percent is that I get a match, and that's it. And if I have extra money, when my paycheck comes out, I'll invest that in the taxable. But to be honest, it's not often that there's extra money, you know, because every single bill, every recurring bill that I've gotten has gone up and up and up, and it's honestly it's getting a little ridiculous now. But hey, that's a convo for another day. Highly compensated employees, automatic enrollment. Yeah, screw you. How about that? All right, so that's pretty much it on that. And now we're going to get into the follow-up from my first video. So I know that's maybe what you were curious about from the beginning, but so what I did, in case you missed the first video, really quick recap. I went, and this is what again, everyone has a different 401k. They have different websites that they have to use. I went to basically to look at the investment options, and I copied, of course, there was no download, I don't think. I copied the information and I pasted it on the Google Sheets. And it came through as, you know, you could see the links, which is cool. At least it came through as a link. And I went through on the last video. I'll try to remember to pin the last video to the top of the comments. And I went through each and every fund, and I figured out, you know, I said, okay, how much did the various funds, you know, make or average, I'll say, over 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? What's the average of that? So again, target funds, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but if you click a target fund, you know, basically how they work is they tell you, all right, you need this much in bonds, you need more in bonds as you get closer to retirement. And when you retire, you need a lot in bonds because bonds are less risky than the stock market, right? Now, again, people, when they define risk, it's all different, right? What about the risk of inflation, right? Are bonds ever going to pay you more than inflation? No, probably not. So what about that risk? I don't think that's considered, especially nowadays, like over the past couple of years with high-ass inflation. Now, to me, my opinion on bonds is I don't want it. I don't want any of it. So again, when I go back to here and I look, all right, so I have bonds available to me, right? These are 4 bond funds to choose from. And if I look at the average of these, 2.93, 7.78, 3.25, 3.44, you know, none, even the 3, 5, and 10, not one hit above double digits, you know, where if you go to the stock funds, you know, you're not accepting anything below a double digit. So what's the moral of the story here? Well, the moral of the story is I don't want a target fund. If they're telling me, even day one, they're telling me I need 10% in bonds, I'm telling them, no, thank you. So we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So first off, what are we doing? We're getting rid of these suckers. Let's just hide them. We don't even want to see them on the spreadsheet. They're disasters. All right. And you can see, by the way, my current allocation, no, I did not have bonds in there. You know, I handled that years ago once I, you know, figured, just saw the performance. But I'm not going to lie, many years before that, I thought, based on what I was told, I had to have some bonds in there or else I was a dumbass, right? Or else I was going to lose all my money. And then I just realized, you know what? All those years, what a waste. Even if it was 10%, like what a waste. All right, so here's the target funds. Obviously, the idea is you're going to choose the year that has the year you retire, so they appropriately pick your investments so that you can survive. But yeah, and to be honest, the performance is not bad of these funds. But again, it will get worse as they add more bonds as you get closer. So, but again, I don't want them doing the work. I want to, although I'm limited to these other funds, again, I'm limited to the choices. I'm not going to have them tell me my allocation within, So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide these. So as far as target date funds, I want no part of that. I want zero part of that. So that leaves me now with these suckers, right? I almost got it in the full view. Actually, I'm going to hide. So first, you can see in gray, we have American Century Small Cap. Should I zoom out a little? There you go. I get them all. How's that zoom? Can you guys see that? We have 115 of you between YouTube and X. I know it's early. I know it's a boring ass subject, but hey, I had to do it anyway. So I figured, why not air it, right? Why not share how I review my 401k? And you guys can judge me or agree with me or whatever you want to do. All right, Nikki, thank you for responding. Nikki can see it. All right, so this American Century, if you look at the performance 6 over the last 3, again, this is the average annualized growth, 6, 7, and 9. And then obviously the average of those 3 is 7. So I'm just making a rule. If it's not 10, I'm not having it. So you could see my current allocation. I had 10%. And I think the main reason is because it said small cap. So yeah, I can't invest for that reason, just because it says small cap. But the good news is we have the Vanguard Explorer, who's on warning. They have small cap funds as well. So again, I'll change the 10% here and I'll make it 0. So that's one thing. And now I have to figure out, okay, what about the others? And you can see I already filled in the new allocation, but I don't know if this is final. I'm going to kind of like go through this and, go from there. But if we go through, okay, let's look at asset class. So we have international. We have 2 internationals. One of them, well, let's look at the 3-year. One of them, 14 versus 23, 4 versus 23, and 8 versus 23. Okay. And my allocation was 10 on one, 15 on the other. All right. So performance-wise, as far as international funds go, there is almost no point to this pink one, this warning, right? But let's keep going. Let's see what else they got. So their allocation was 23% tech, 21% financial. Their allocation here, 23% financial, 15% industrial, 15% tech. And then here, okay, this is a problem to me. How are you going to have 11% in Taiwan semiconductors? Meanwhile, your second biggest holding is Tencent at 4%. That's a little extensive, especially on an index fund, right? Like, I didn't check the number of holdings, but let's see if they list the number of holdings. Oh my goodness. Would you look at this? 4,955 holdings. I mean, that's great and all, but how are you going to do 11% at Taiwan? All right. So this one, they have 3% to Taiwan semiconductors. Okay. And I don't know how many funds they have, but certainly it's worth checking. All right. Let's see. Again, it pulls up Morningstar, which is fun. All right. So they're 8,594. Okay. And again, you could see the various funds. These are international. I'm not going to pretend I know what the hell I'm looking at. But is it good to have some international exposure? I think so. Not too much, but I think so. Not financial advice. You guys know that. All right. So how much though? I don't know. I don't know the right answer. But right now I'm changing the 10% up here to 0. That's the new allocation, 0. So that's final. So as we go through these, and then the one here, I changed this because these were 10 and 10, if you look. So I changed this to 20 from 15. Actually, no, these were 10 and 15. So this could go to 25 and be a quarter of my portfolio, or it can go to 20 and be a fifth of my portfolio. All right. All right. So what do we got here? I can't even change mine. I just see V in your 401k. I'm sure you have like at least a few options. I'm out of breath from the fun and entertainment. Treadmill might be a contributing factor. Yeah. Keep it going. Keep it going. Video question. Yeah, my you don't want to know about my Monday accountability. Since we've been snowed in, it's been eating fiesta. So we're gonna pause the Monday accountability. We're still working out. We can't run though. There's ice on the ground everywhere. And I hate treadmills, so I refuse. So I'd rather just lift weights when I go to the gym. But soon, brother, soon. Don't worry. When it gets to warmer weather, I'll definitely be a little more annoying too on my accountabilities. Cisco, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, let's keep going. All right, so that's for the international. All right, I don't want to hide them because I have to remember to go in today and change it. I should probably do it right after this freaking video. All right, so now what else we got? So we got another warning here. This is the small cap one though. So, this, when we say small cap, like what are they holding? These lazy asses, I looked over, they have Vanguard small cap ETF. Like, what the heck? You're really, bro? Like, I don't know. That just seems so lazy to me. But again, at the same time, I don't know. I'm torn on this. I'm torn. If I click on it, let's see what comes up. Like, what type of small cap companies? Again, still in the top. Guidewire, Wix, Houlihan, Comfort. I mean, how many? 728 holdings. And then obviously you could see the diversification by sector, which is great, but it's just the performance. It doesn't justify holding, right? The 3 years great, 12. The 5 year, man, that's what killed him. But it could have been 1 or 2 bad years. I get it. But the 10 year is double digits. So that tells me I should keep 10%. And that's what I had decided, to keep 10%. So right now, that's my decision. So right now I got 30% gone already, right? 20 there on the international, 10% on the small cap. Now that leaves me with these suckers. So now all of these are good. All of these are double digits. All of these are, awesome, right? So how do we determine, what do you like? What do you do? Like, what the heck do you do here? First off, in green, if you saw the last video, this thing is awesome because ignore these new ones. They just came out. So yeah, their performance is fantastic, which won't go unnoticed. So they're still on the radar. But this is year over year over year. Look at that 3 year, 27%. Really? I mean, that's the best 3 year. Well, no, wait. Prime Cap did beat it, but the 5 year, 12, and then the 10 year, 18, right? But overall, for the average, it beats these two in blue down below. So, and then you got to look here and see, okay, is there a lot of overlap? They're 50% technology, right? So you can't go wrong with that. I mean, is that a bit much? I mean, look at every other fund though. Their highest sector allocation is tech. Is that dangerous? Maybe, right? Maybe, but that's where the money is lately. So I assume that would be adjusted, if needed accordingly. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts on that is. Only trying to help. Yeah, I hear you, man. I always start too early in the winter, and then this happens. Like, although we haven't had snow like this in a long time, so it's different for sure. Like literally sheet of ice everywhere. All right. What do we got here? So I have to make a decision. What is my new allocation for these? So these new ones I had at 5. Since they're kicking ass, right? Like they're literally whooping ass. Even though they just came out, I want to give them another 5. I want to push them up to 10 to give them, a little more of a fighting chance. Now, I got to look at these two in blue. I put solid, but I think these are almost the same exact funds. So, yeah. They did. I think they looked exactly similar, and I chose to put 10 in the one that did better year over year, right? So I think that was my deciding factor. Okay, so that's why that's changed to 0. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm putting 40% in this JP Morgan, but maybe, what do you think? Should I put 15 here and make this 35? Yeah, let's do that. Let's do 35, 15. I think that's a little more reasonable. So what I'll do is I'll go on to the 401k. I usually do future only, but I may move all of it. I don't know. I may move the existing. It's always scary to do that for me, but we'll see. We'll see if I have the balls to move it all. But yeah. So that's my 401k review, and I wanted to show you also by age. This is what people average when it comes to the 401k. So if you look ages 25 to 34, they average a 401k balance of 42,000 to 68,000. Ages 35 to 44, 103 to 143,000. Ages 45 to 54, 188 to 190,000. Ages 55 to 64, 271 to 272,000. And then 65 plus, 270 to 300,000. So I'm sorry, but I don't believe these balances. I think people are doing much better than what these are showing. But if we just plug these in for fun and entertainment. Morning Parabolic, welcome. All right, so we'll plug these in. Here we go. We got the highest of the two balances. Now, if they say, okay, we're going to have the 4% rule, right? This is what your annualized income would be. Do we like the 4% rule? Do you? Do you love the 4% rule? So yeah, even if you're 65 with 300,000, you're going to bring in 12%. Like it's not really going to work. So again, high yield dividends, when it comes to, the various, say 10%, 20%, 50%, people may turn to the high yield dividends now because, let's see. So we don't want to lock E actually. Yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll fix that after. All right. So if you just copy this across, we have to adjust it. So we'll do. Yeah. All right, so lock in. right, let's see what we got here. No, we didn't fix that one. All right, this has the pull from D. All right. Sorry for the boring formula nonsense. But again, even getting a 50% annualized return on 300K, that's 150. That's great and all. But again, is that manageable? So, all right. This dog is not being nice. All right. So anyway, but this is the sources, Kiplinger, Bank Rate Nerd. Well, at least this is what came up on AI, but I really hope it's not true. But again, a lot of people may have had enough with 401ks in general and just not, they're just not putting in. So let's see. Cisco says to retire, you need around 2 to 3 million to live okay. Yeah, let's see. If I plug in, no, we'll plug in 1 million. We could do 1.5 million, 2 million, 3, 4. All right. So what's a reasonable rate that you can expect to live off of? Is 4% rule it? No, absolutely not. I think it's more than 20, to be honest. So if you had 1 million, you can make 200,000. I think easily. I'm not talking doing options. I'm talking doing the lazy route, just buying high yield ETFs. There are index ones that pay around 20%, that actually do pretty decent. If you start chasing the 50, yeah, it gets a little harder, depending on the fund and how it goes. But again, I only bring this up because Cisco said you need around 2 and 3. So if we look, this is what you'll get. So 4% rule, you make 120,000. You'll have that and probably Social Security when you get to the certain age, and that'd probably be enough. It depends where you live, of course. Depends on your lifestyle, and also even 10%, which is not I think 10% very manageable. So if you had 3 million, you make 300,000. If you can make that work, great. I don't know, just a thought. Let's see if we have any other comments. Morning, Kieran. Well, we always think 2 or 3 million is a good amount, but then you realize when you get older, the medical expense, I think you need, oh, damn, Kieran just raised us up to 5 million. Yeah, that's the thing. They got to fix this medical expense situation, because I don't know about you guys, if you have kids, like the amount, well, my son just sprained his ankle and he got a cast on yesterday. So like that plastic cast, how much is that going to cost me? I guarantee it's over $1,000, right? I guarantee it. And again, what I'm trying to honestly think, am I better off not having insurance? I don't know. What is the point of insurance, right? Is it even helping us anymore? Or what are we doing here? I don't know. That's not a game I wanted to play, but it's like, I don't know. It makes me just question everything. Cisco's given us some options. SPY I. I mean, of that group, I would just choose SPY I. I agree. Kieran, inflation in the next 10, 20 years. I think we need to move to Thailand. Yeah, we may all just need to go there, and just be on Cooper's Thai Adventure every week. Imagine. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but when parents get old and if they have medical issue, a decent nursing home. No, I know, man. It's crazy. it's the whole thing's screwed up. The whole thing is just so screwed up. And it's not like these nursing homes are nice half the time. But all right. I wanted to share my numbers, right? So I don't really talk about my 401k at all, but I figured I would at least share with you guys where I'm at, right? Where I'm at currently on my 401k journey. As you know, I kind of stopped contributing. I just put the match in. But at this point, I have about half a mil in there. I'm 43. The year is 26, right? Now, I have a growth rate here that I'm using, which is, I always say this is like what Dave Ramsey used, 8%, 8%, typical average growth rate over year, right? So with that, the ending balance at the rule of 55 age is, and I guess I can make this green, right? So we know that's when we're retiring, hopefully before, but that would bring me in $1.8 million, as an ending balance, right? Which, based on what you guys just told me, that is not enough anyway. But so, what about if I go back to the funds available, the ones that I'm choosing, what are they kind of like averaging? Let's see. 14, 17. The big one, like 19. Am I going to get 19 a year? Probably not. So let's do a 12, conservative 12. So if I type in 12%, if I knew how to type, then I would end up with 2.7 million. Okay. Now, if I plug in the yield down here, again, 20% easily 20%. My annual income would be 557,000. This does not include any taxable accounts that I would build up. This does not include any Bitcoin amounts that I would build up. This does not include Social Security, but of course you can't get Social Security at 55 anyway. So, but yeah, to me, again, there's no reason that I can't retire at 55. Even with the kids still being kind of young, I don't know, but I'm done. 55, done. That's 12 years. So we'll see. Where do you guys stand? Are you like, what do you have a 401k? What's your balance? Is it, do you even invest in it? Or, I assume you do if you have a company match. The Rod compound. Yeah, we'll get everyone. It'll be cheap. We'll live like kings and queens. Just got back from travel, but let's say 2K a month in Vietnam or Thailand, you can live like a king. It's just so hard to imagine that. Like 2K. I don't even know. Like I just shelled that out for quarterly property tax. Like, all right. Trump is trying to take over the stock market. The dollar value is going down. Yeah, we'll see, man. We shall see. The stock market today, if I go to stock analysis, pre-market, the S&P is down 0.5%. The NASDAQ is down 0.8. The Dow is down 0.08. And the Russell's down 0.5%. So, yeah, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty out there. So that's pretty much it, though. That is the update on my 401k journey. So today, at least after this video, I'll log in and I'll make the changes. Again, it's either on a going forward basis or I'll just do it on all of it. I should probably do it on all of it, but I don't know. Again, it's not easy and it's not fun, but it's something you got to do, right? I'm sure all of you have some other account where maybe you just haven't looked at it. It doesn't have to be a 401k. It could be like an old 401k. It could be just another brokerage account, or maybe a crappy annuity that you haven't even looked at and it keeps auto renewing on you. So I don't know, but that's the point of this video. Or maybe it's a series because it's the second video, but I'm done after this until next year, right? Hopefully I can still keep this file till next year, and then we'll use it, right? And we'll do the comparison again. But yeah. All right, so on that note, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, then come back next time, and we'll talk. We'll talk. All right. Kieran says, it's true. You really have to look at all your accounts because sometimes you got a fund sitting doing crap, and you're like, what the? Yeah, exactly. So why, even if it's like $10,000 in it, like, come on, bro. What is this? You know, go through all your crap, you know, or even like your friends and family crap. Like, ask them, like, what do you got? Like, what are you doing? Right? Like, my mom has this annuity. She's like, oh, I think it auto. Like, what do you mean it auto renewed? We're supposed to get rid of that damn thing, because these annuities, man, those things are so messed up. Like, just taking advantage of people who are too lazy, you know, or don't know how to invest, right? There's Z-Dubs. It's been a while. It's been a while. Thank you, Nikki. Nikki, we'll have to do a review on your 401k soon. All right. Send us your funds, and we'll end your allocation, and then we'll grill you. I'm kidding. All right, go 100% line 18. Okay, so the green one. Yeah, full port. Yeah, I hear you, man. Because it's not like it's not diversified. You don't need 5 index funds that do the same damn thing, right? These index funds are very diversified. So yeah, you can choose one. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna play some music and pull up an old video. The other day I pulled up the Christmas Eve version. Today I'm gonna pull up the first. I think it was the first Rod and Friends. I found it. Yeah, here it is. Maybe it was the first. I don't know. Did like a market. Let's see. A nice countdown. So this, I guess I kept the faces on the bottom. But, all right, so we'll keep it like that. Let me play some music. Think of a keyword, by the way.
Ooh. Yeah. Good morning, friends. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Built, not sold, yeah, intentionally. No hype talk, just clarity. If you want that life, say freedom with me. Mid-40s, married man, house stay loud. Raising up boys, turning boys into men. New puppy running, chaos around. Still clocking in, but he plotting the end. Giants fan scars, yeah, he wear that pain. Smiles through the losses like part of the game. Never throw shots, never talks that mess. Builds people up, less results address. Streams every day, never missing a beat. YouTube live X when the mic get heat. Not selling dreams, just showing the math. Wins and drawdowns, full on his path. Spreadsheet brain with a streetwise frame. Plays of discipline, never chasing fame. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. Yeah. Options on screen, risk handle precise. Structures built calm, every move got a price. Cover calls roll, protection in place. Time on his side, patience setting the pace. They say slow down, he say stay exact. Same calm tone when the market get snapped. Runs through mud just to test that will. Same mindset when the chalk goes still. Sings on the post, crowd laugh, he grin. Go dig a hook, but the lesson still win. Movie quotes fly, wrestling frame. Serious work, but he keep it light, man. R to the O to the D. Retire on dividends, you know me. Cash flow mindset, moving differently. Numbers don't lie, plans stay ready. If you want that life, say freedom with me. If you want that life, say freedom with me. This was for fun and entertainment purposes. I hope you have fun and will entertain. And if not, I'll do better next time. And if you made it this far, and you want to make sure everybody knows, you got to say the key word. Freedom! Freedom!
All right. What's the key word? Genie, my dog. Is that a key word? Is that a legit keyword? I mean, I guess, right? Why not? All right. So if you made it this far in the video and I can't talk, you gotta say the keyword. You have to say the baby. So anyway, the keyword today is Genie, my dog. Okay? Genie, my dog. Genie, my dog. Genie, my dog. Genie, my dog. Why? Because Backyard Prospector said so. All right. That's enough for one video. I just want to say thank you all for watching and have a good day. Have a good week. But I'll be on in the tomorrow morning. We shall talk tomorrow. Later.